Welcome, everyone. We're going to get started now. You are tuning into another remote public scoping session for the Avenir project. This is a continuation of last week's session. We appreciate you joining. I'm Robert Williams, the Executive Director of the New York State Gaming Commission, and I'll be presiding over tonight's scoping session in accordance with the State Environmental Quality Review Act, which is commonly referred to as SEQR. Today's date is May 29th, 2025, and the time is approximately 5:02 p.m. Please note that this session is being recorded. For those of you who have logged on to Zoom through a desktop and requested language access services, please click the interpretation button at the bottom of your Zoom screen and select the applicable language. For those of you who have accessed Zoom through a mobile device, tap the three dots in the lower right, selecting interpretation, and select the applicable language. Please be certain to mute the original audio button on your screen. Please note that interpretation is only available through computer audio or voice over internet protocol and not through dial-in or phone audio. Additionally, American Sign Language interpretation, as you can see on the main screen, will be continuous through the session. No one as yet has requested language interpretation for this scoping session. If we do receive any comments on the draft scope of work in a language other than English, we will have that translated and it will be considered. If you are experiencing any audio issues at any time during the session, please dial into the meeting at 877-853-5247 and utilize meeting identification 897-2783-4608 with passcode 1. For further technical issues, please call 877-853-5247 and enter meeting identification number 858-1351-0829 and passcode 1. You'll receive help that way. If you've joined us by telephone and are having difficulties, we advise that you hang up and redial. On April 18th, 2025, the Commission assumed designation as the SEQR lead agency for the Avenir project's application to construct a commercial casino and associated development at an approximately 2-acre vacant parcel of land comprised of lots 1 and 30 of Manhattan Block 1069. The block is bounded by West 40th Street, West 41st Street, Galvin Avenue, which is the Lincoln Tunnel approach, and 11th Avenue. The project is, of course, contingent on the issuance of a commercial casino gaming facility license by the New York State Gaming Commission. The proposed action is discretionary, subject to environmental review under SEQR. The Commission determined the project to be a Type 1 action, and accordingly, the Avenir project prepared Part 1 of the full environmental assessment form. After reviewing and analyzing the Part 1 form, the Commission prepared Parts 2 and 3, and on May 2nd, 2025, found the proposed action has the potential to result in one or more significant adverse environmental impacts in one or more environmental areas, and determined that a draft environmental impact statement, or DEIS, must be prepared. As required by SEQR, the Avenir project's environmental consultants prepared a draft scope of work in consultation with the Commission. The Commission circulated its positive declaration, notice of SEQR scoping session, and draft scope of work to involved and interested agencies and published the notices in the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation's Environmental Notice Bulletin on May 7th, 2025. Accordingly, the Commission scheduled last week's SEQR scoping session, which was supplemented with tonight's continuation, to obtain public input for the final scope of the draft environmental impact statement. We are here to receive comments on the draft scope of work for the Avenir project. The draft scope of work identifies all subjects that will be analyzed in the draft environmental impact statement and explains how those subjects will be studied. The draft scope is available on the website that is shown on the screen. As I mentioned, the purpose of today's scoping session is to allow public participation in the preparation of the DEIS at the earliest stage possible in the environmental review process. Specifically, scoping allows the public to shape the DEIS before it is written. To that end, the Commission will have an opportunity today to receive comments on the draft scope from elected officials, government agencies, community board representatives, and members of the public. We also welcome written comments on the draft scope of work. Those comments can be submitted through 5 p.m. June 12, 2025 by electronic mail or mailing the comments to the addresses that are on the screen. As a point of notice, I would like to remind everyone that there is another important opportunity to provide comment. Once the Commission accepts a draft environmental impact statement as complete and adequate for public review, the Commission will offer the document for public comment on both its scope and content. This is triggered by the Commission's preparing and filing a notice of completion consistent with the requirements of Title VI of the official compilation of codes, rules, and regulations of the state of New York, section 617.12, to announce that it has accepted the draft environmental impact statement and opened the public review and comment period. While a notice of completion of a draft environmental impact statement is required to be published in the State Environmental Notice Bulletin, we want to ensure that all interested people are timely notified of the availability of the draft EIS. So we will post notices on both the Gaming Commission and the Gaming Facility Location Board's websites, as well as making it known through social media. We will, of course, place review copies of any accepted draft environmental impact statement in accessible public venues, such as a local library and municipal offices, and we will work with local elected officials and representative community boards to identify appropriate placement locations. Presuming the anticipated schedules hold, I anticipate that the draft environmental impact statement will be available towards the end of July. Given that news can be missed during the summer months, to facilitate notice, anyone interested in receiving an email announcing that a draft environmental impact statement's availability may have their name added to an email mailing list by sending their name, email address, and the identification of the project they're interested in to kristen.buckley@gaming.ny.gov. That's KRISTEN.BUCKLEY@gaming.ny.gov. At the end of the scoping comment period, the Commission in its role as lead agency will review all comments, those we received last week, those we will receive today, and all written comments received. After carefully reviewing all comments, the Commission will decide what changes, if any, will be needed to be made to the draft scope of work, and the Commission will then issue a final scope of work. It is the final scope of work that will serve as the basis for preparing the draft environmental impact statement. The draft environmental impact statement will be prepared in accordance with the final scoping document and will contain detailed information regarding the proposed action, potential environmental impacts, and appropriate measures to avoid, minimize, and/or mitigate any significant impacts encountered, as well as a description of alternatives and a no action alternative. The draft environmental impact statement will be made available for public comment, as I mentioned, and review will be following its consideration by the Commission as lead agency. Once accepted, as I said, we will solicit comments on that draft document. Today's session is divided into 3 parts. The first part of the session, we will have a brief overview describing the Avenir project and a summary of the draft scope of work. During the second part of the session, we will receive comments on the draft scope from government elected officials and government agencies. The third and final portion of the session will be the receipt of comments from community board chairs and district managers, interested organizations, and members of the public. Tonight's session will end only when everyone who has signed up to provide testimony has had an opportunity to be heard. Tonight's session is not a question and answer session, but is intended, as I mentioned, to allow the public an opportunity to provide meaningful input regarding the scope of the draft environmental impact statement. No decisions on the draft scope of work will be made tonight. On to a few logistics for tonight's scoping session. For those of you who have pre-registered an interest in providing comment, we will call on you in the order received. For those who have joined tonight without pre-registration, if you're on a telephone, you may dial *9 to indicate your desire to provide oral testimony. If on video, you may indicate your desire to provide oral testimony by using the raise hand indicator. Participants using the raised hand indicator function or *9 will be added to the end of the pre-registered speakers list in the order in which they raise their hand or press *9. The option to speak tonight will end at 7 p.m. If you're reading prepared comments, it would be helpful if you email a copy of your comments to the commission at kristen.buckley@gaming.ny.gov. Again, when it's your turn to speak, your name will be called and you will be granted temporary speaking privileges by the session administrator, which will allow you to temporarily unmute your microphone. Please note that promoting speakers can take some time, so we would appreciate your patience between speakers. Once again, when your name is called, unmute your microphone or telephone and start your remarks. To allow us to hear from everyone who wishes to speak, we ask that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes. You will note a 3-minute countdown clock will run on the screen. You will be advised when 10 seconds are remaining and when time is expired. Lines will be muted for speakers who go past 3 minutes. If you join by telephone only, we will announce when 3 minutes have elapsed. For those participating or participants utilizing interpretation services, 5 minutes of speaking time will be granted. If you wish to only provide written testimony, again, you may submit them to the commission by emailing them or mailing them to the address shown on the slide. These comments must be received no later than 5 p.m. on June 12th, 2025. Next up, we're going to be joined by Dara McQuillan, Silverstein Properties Chief Marketing Officer, Jeffrey Ulrich, who's an associate principal in the Cetra Ruddy Architecture, which represents the Avenir project, and by Connor Lacefield, Vice President, Environmental and Land Use Planning at AKRF, the environmental consultant firm preparing the Seeker Environmental Impact Statement. I'd like the team to begin the session by providing a short project presentation on behalf of the applicant, followed by Mr. Lacefield to discuss the draft scope of work and the analysis framework for the environmental review. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you also to your team for all of its great work over the last couple of years. My name is Dara McQuillan. I work for Silverstein Properties. I've had the pleasure of working for this company for 21 years, and I'm going to give you a quick overview of this project, if I may. We'll start with a little bit of an overview of Silverstein Properties. Ours is a family company, privately owned, but we're well known in New York, probably best known for our work rebuilding the World Trade Center after 9/11. But we also build and manage and operate millions of square feet of residential space, hotel space, retail space, and office space all over the country. We have, 70 years of experience, and many of those years working with government agencies and community boards, neighborhood groups. As a matter of fact, we pride ourselves on our deep relationship and commitment to the communities in which we work. One of the things that marked our experience rebuilding the World Trade Center was that this was very much a collaborative effort. And the voice of the people that live and work in the community was really important to us as we planned the new development. And that's exactly the approach that we plan to take here with the Avenir. We are a union builder, and one of the things I'm proudest of in working at the World Trade Center was all of the partnerships that we made with different organizations as we built. It was our goal then, and it is our goal now, to make sure that anyone who wants to participate in the rebuilding, building of the Avenir will have an opportunity to do so. So we will not only provide 4,000 union construction jobs, but we'll also be partnering with organizations like Non-Traditional Employment for Women, Construction Skills 2000, which is an apprentice program. And we'll also be partnering with Helmets to Hard Hats, which is a program that allows returning veterans to enter the union construction trades. The team that we have brought here together is comprised of many organizations that we have worked with in the past on some of our largest projects here in New York, but we're very proud to introduce two companies that are part of our Avenir project, Rush Street Gaming and Greenwood Gaming. These are both family organizations like Silverstein Properties. They are not public companies. They are not big Las Vegas casinos. And we chose them very deliberately because we wanted to make sure that on this particular project, we were going to treat it differently. We are not beholden to quarterly earnings or to shareholders. Our priority is the community in which we build and in which we develop. Rush Street Gaming, for example, has a phenomenal track record of partnering with MWBE suppliers and local vendors. They operate the Schenectady Casino, and they were the first to operate in that city. So they have a lot of experience coming into cities that have never had a casino before. They also, are a big driver of economic growth within the cities and the communities in which they work. And we expect that to be one of the things that happens here with the Avenir. Our other partner, Greenwood Gaming, before I get to that, one of the questions that we've been asked a lot by members of the community is what the impact this will have on safety in the streets and crime on the streets. I thought it was very interesting that when Rush Street opened its casino in Massachusetts, crime declined. And the same thing happened in Philadelphia, where crime decreased 20%. And the same thing happened in Schenectady. So this is something that I thought was quite an interesting point to make. Our other partners, Greenwood Gaming, are very important contributors to their community. The Parks Casino is the largest casino in Pennsylvania. It's in Bensalem, which is a little bit outside Philadelphia, and they support over 200 local and regional organizations. That's exactly the type of approach that we are planning to take with the Avenir on the far west side. And over the coming weeks, members of the public will hear about the partnerships that we have created with some of these very important and influential organizations. Another thing that we are particularly proud of is how inclusive our workforce is at Silverstein and how inclusive the workforce is at both Greenwood and Rush Street. It's important, as I said earlier, not only for our construction trades to be open to anyone who wants to participate in those union jobs, but it's also important that the people, the 5,000 people who end up working in this facility, will also be able to come from a variety of different backgrounds, and we will encourage them to apply for work within this project. I'd like to talk a little bit about the location because it may not be familiar to everyone on the call. This is a photograph of the west side of Manhattan from 1980. And if you see that empty parcel of land that's a parking lot, that was purchased by Larry Silverstein in 1984. And over the next 30 years, he developed that into a residential community with over 2,300 families living in our buildings. We opened River Place in 2001. We opened Silver Towers in 2010. And these residents are our most important customers. So when we heard about this opportunity to perhaps bid on a casino license in New York City for the very first time, given the need that the city and the state need for revenue, given the need that the MTA needs for revenue, we thought that this might be a very interesting location for that casino. If you look at this photograph on the right, that's a Mercedes-Benz car dealership that some of you may remember. It was there until about 10 years ago when we purchased that block of land. And in the background, you can see River Place and Silver Towers. I would like to mention for a minute that we take great pride in our ownership and stewardship of those buildings. And they are the largest rental buildings in New York City without any open violations with the Department of Buildings. If you take a look at the next slide, you will see exactly what this site looks like. This photograph was taken from one of the apartments at Silver Towers looking south. And it's a bit of an unusual site. First of all, it's in a somewhat industrial neighborhood. Second of all, it's not quite in Hudson Yards. It's not quite in Hell's Kitchen. It's not Times Square. It's not the theater district. It's across the street from the Javits Center. And over the years, we looked at doing different things with this parcel of land from a development perspective. We thought that given the city's need for housing, it might be a good place for housing. But the fact that it's right next to the entrance to the Lincoln Tunnel makes that really impossible. As a matter of fact, there's nothing there. Here's a photograph looking northwest. And if you look at the next shot, which faces southeast, you can see the Hudson Yards buildings slowly making their way north up 11th Avenue, mostly office buildings, but some residential buildings. You might also notice the construction site fence around our project, where we invited local artists to come in and even children of some of the residents in Silver Towers and River Place to come and paint murals on this site fence. I'm particularly interested in this part of the project because, as you'll see, when my colleague Jeffrey presents the design of the building, this is where we are going to have a community gallery with a focus on art making, and the display of art. So I'm very excited by the possibility of activating and animating this stretch of 11th Avenue. It's also an interesting spot because if you look at this, you can't see it here, but you'll see it in the rendering. This is where the Port Authority is going to be building its bus terminal and its massive bus terminal ramps. Here you can see the entrance to the Lincoln Tunnel and a little bit of the Javits Center, which is just to our southwest of our project. And the next photograph shows you what the site looks like today. There's literally nothing here. It's shovel ready. If we get the approval to do this project, we can start building right away. We can start putting local New Yorkers to work right away in the union jobs that this will create. And we can start our training programs and our educational partnerships to prepare for the 5,000 union workforce that'll operate the hotel, the restaurants, the casino, and other aspects of this project. So thank you for your time this morning. I'm looking forward to your feedback. And, as I have said all along in the 2 years that we've been meeting with and talking with members of our community about this project, we welcome everyone's input. And we really do pride ourselves on being open and receptive to, the voices of the community. And now I'm delighted to hand over to my colleague from Cetra Ruddy, who's going to talk a little bit about the design of the Avenir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dara. That's great. You and Silverstein are always inspirational to us. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to, first of all, thank any elected officials that are listening, the Gaming Commission and its staff, Community Board 4, and community members and the general public. I'm excited to share our vision for the Avenir and to hearing your questions and comments afterward. My name is Jeffrey Ulrich. I'm an associate principal at Cetra Ruddy Architecture. We are a New York-based architectural firm that's been creating contextual and socially responsible building for over 30 years. Similar to Silverstein Properties and our project partners, it's a family-run business founded by John Cetra and Nancy J. Ruddy in their second bedroom in Long Island City 38 years ago. So this collage of images shows John and Nancy in our firm's office with models of just a handful of the over 100 successfully completed projects in New York. And the center top photo is of them as they just started out as professionals, sitting on what was then the completely undeveloped west side waterfront near the current Avenir site. From the beginning, the firm has been committed to creating an architecture that's grounded in history, but looks to the future. And I'm proud to say that Setarati includes a certified women's business enterprise that implements all our planning and interior design work. Our team is diverse, and I'm proud to say consists of 55% women. Setarati was founded to create new paradigms for urban housing. Our focus of over 100 successfully completed projects in New York City has been creating community and home through diverse, inclusive, and affordable residential and mixed-use buildings throughout the city. From affordable and supportive housing to educational and community projects, we have collaborated successfully with residents, community boards, and development visionaries on Manhattan's West to make create a more vibrant and livable city. We have designed and built numerous projects on Manhattan's West Side and in the immediate neighborhood, and we really are excited to have this opportunity to contribute further with this important urban amenity at the Avenir site. The Avenir is located on a full block that spans 40th to 41st between 11th and Galvin Avenue, the Lincoln Tunnel approach. The site is the northernmost parcel of the Special Hudson Yards District. This 92,000 square foot empty shovel-ready site will house 1,670,000 square feet of multi-use building that has been thoughtfully designed to be both a community and city-wide asset. The building will house a 200,000 square foot gaming facility, a 1,000 room hotel and related amenities, conference and event center, multiple food and beverage experiences that include a food hall showcasing local culinary talent, indoor and outdoor health and wellness facilities, and a community gallery that Dara referred to and will touch upon a little bit later. This rendering is a view of our building looking south. We hope that you see we are proposing a quintessentially New York building that is compatible with the local West Side context. This diagram shows how uniquely located the site is. And as Dara mentioned, the site is at the confluence of several neighborhoods that are not currently connected to each other. There are barriers between them. As urbanists and planners, we believe that the development of the site will mend and knit together the fabric of this part of the West Side by creating an activated building that has been carefully planned for pedestrian, vehicular, and public transportation access. As we all know, New York is a walkable, pedestrian-oriented city. Residents and all the visitors to our city enjoy the magic of our streets. Our goal for this site is to create connectivity and vibrancy and to be a good neighbor to the existing community. The circle on the diagram indicates a 10-minute walking radius from the site. Once developed, the site will connect and support important West Side hubs, such as Javits Center, the Theater District, Madison Square Garden, existing neighborhoods and outdoor neighborhood amenities, such as Hudson Yards Park, and the outdoor recreational venues along the Hudson River. This diagram is about how well connected the site is to the multiple lines of above and below grade public transportation, and is located, the site's located near major transportation hubs that include Moynihan Train Hall, the Port Authority Bus Terminal, the West Midtown Ferry Terminal at Pier 79 that serves New Jersey, and the myriad of train subway lines at Times Square and Herald Square. Access to Newark Airport, crosstown thoroughfares to the east side, and bridges and tunnels efficiently connect the Avenir to the greater metropolitan area and beyond. This building section shows how the Avenir is grounded to the pedestrian experience by creating a 9-story base that relates to the scale of the other structures in the neighborhood. This podium base contains 5 floors of public amenities, 4 floors of gaming, and it includes a full floor food hall on level 6. The rooftop of the base will contain a green biophilic open space, which is from which a 45-story hotel tower springs. The program of the Avenir will support existing surrounding venues and districts with hospitality, entertainment, and wellness spaces that are accessible to the public. Here in the ground floor plan, you can see how it's been designed for safe and convenient access for neighborhood pedestrians and visitors and vehicles serving the building. Entrances will be located on both 40th and 41st Street, with the main entrance on 41st Street. The building itself has been carved out at the base to allow 3 lanes of vehicular access that will occur largely within the site boundaries so as not to negatively affect the 2-way traffic pattern on West 41st Street. Pedestrian access will be along art-activated facades with entry through weather-protected access and widened sidewalks. Consistent with Silverstein's commitment to New York City and the arts, the base of the building has been designed to incorporate both permanent and changing local and international art to provide vibrancy, activation, and inspiration. The 11th Avenue portion of the ground floor will house the community gallery that I referred to. You can see it here in green, which will, 1, showcase local art, 2, be a venue for community and educational events, and 3, be an asset to the community. The glass enclosed 45-foot high space captures the essence of Manhattan's artistic spirit and will enliven the 11th Avenue facade. The community gallery will become a beacon of light and activity and a destination in the development of making 11th Avenue Manhattan's new great boulevard, and the next important boulevard. And what we're doing here is we are activating an entire block front with 3 sides. This inspirational and experiential space will also provide access to public spaces within the building without entering the casino via a scenic glass elevator and a dramatic escalator. It really is the third space, a safe space, is open to all, and is a great gesture to the city and the surroundings. The building design creates a new paradigm for gaming facilities. Unlike casinos in the past, which were designed as impenetrable black boxes, we've turned the venue inside out to create transparency and visibility into the social, relaxation, and food and beverage spaces while providing connectivity, light, and animation to the street. The gentle curves of the entry facade provide a gesture that invites the visitors into the building. A multi-story entry atrium that is a centralizing feature of the casino illuminates the 41st Street facade and provides a welcome to visitors and passers-by. The design of the building exhibits a commitment to continuing the historic tradition of New York City architecture based on distinctive design excellence. We are creating a building that is contextual with a diverse neighborhood fabric while adding to the iconic skyline of the city. The form and materiality of the building will be an asset to the community, visitors to the site, and pedestrians who may or may not enter the building. You can see here the spiraling ramps of the Port Authority. So this is a building that a key part of the future, the future neighborhood. Excuse me. The sculptural form creates a warm gesture while also reducing the perceived mass of the building. The gentle, harmonious waves of the podium and tower create a rhythmic harmony with its dense urban surroundings. The building's material is composed of warm toned metal and glass that are consistent with the masonry and glass neighboring contacts. The elegant, soft forms of the building will gently reflect the changing skies and sunlight and create a subtle prismatic change throughout the day and night. Exterior lighting will be subtle and respectful of the neighborhood, while also having the ability to celebrate important holidays, the way that the Empire State Building is illuminated on important dates. Terraces, which you can see in the image created by the building form, will provide indoor, outdoor activity and natural landscape. If you look to the bottom of the bays at 11th Avenue, you see a very active glowing area. That's the community gallery. So what a spectacular block front that is really the image of the building from the west. Sustainability is a key element of the building's design. The project team is targeting a building that will operate with carbon neutrality. We are committed to a minimum LEED Silver certification, but we'll target platinum. The building will be all electric with no combustion of fossil fuels. The Avenir will add grace to the west side New York City skyline with its elegant form and luminous quality, while also bringing added vitality and a welcome cultural hub to the neighborhood and local residents. Thank you for your interest in the project. I would like now to turn it over to Connor Lacefield from AKRF, the environmental consulting firm that will be stewarding the EIS.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Good evening, everyone. My name is Connor Lacefield, and I'm a vice president at AKRF. I'm serving as the project manager for the preparation of the draft EIS for the applicant team. In the next few slides, I'm going to provide a brief summary of the contents of the draft scope of work. There's a lot more detail in the actual document, so I invite you to review the full document for more information. This table presents the project program that will be analyzed in the draft EIS. The project consists of about 200,000 gross square feet of gaming facility, 130,000 gross square feet of food and beverage space, 46,000 gross square feet of ballrooms, meeting rooms, and conference space, 38,000 square feet of spa, fitness center, and pool, and a 1,000 key hotel, and 102 accessory parking spaces. The project would also include about 7,300 gross square feet of community gallery space. This is the 11th Avenue gallery space that both Dara and Jeffrey spoke about. The total building floor area would be about 1.67 million gross square feet. This slide shows an illustrative ground floor plan for the proposed project. The main entrances for the gaming facility and the hotel would be along West 41st Street, shown here in orange and light purple along the top of the plan. The community gallery space would be located along 11th Avenue, shown here in light green on the left side of the plan. Passenger vehicle access to the site would be through the 3-lane drop-off area along West 41st Street. This drop-off area would provide a dedicated space for queuing, drop-offs, and pickups, and would provide access to the project's below-grade accessory parking. The project's loading dock would be accessed from West 40th Street, shown here in white on the bottom of the plan. This slide shows an axonometric diagram of the proposed project. The project would have a 9-story base or podium covering the full site, with a hotel tower rising on the western portion of the site along 11th Avenue. The building's form would comply with the density, bulk, and form permitted by the existing zoning of the site. The building massing will be analyzed in the relevant analyses of the draft EIS. For example, the shadows analysis will be based on this building massing. This slide presents the areas of analysis that we will cover in the draft EIS. The EIS will provide impact studies for all 17 areas shown on the slide. All analyses will account for predicted changes in background conditions and consider how the project would affect these future conditions. The one exception is construction, which considers impacts that could occur during the period of construction, prior to completion of the project. The analyses will be conducted using the guidance of the city's Environmental Quality Review Technical Manual. In addition to these analysis areas, the EIS will include a project description that will provide details about the proposed project, the proposed action, and the purpose and need for the project, a description of proposed mitigation measures, which are feasible and practicable measures that could avoid or minimize significant adverse impacts that are identified in the draft EIS, and a description and evaluation of a range of reasonable development options or alternatives to determine whether those alternatives could avoid or reduce project-related significant adverse impacts while still achieving the goals and objectives for the project. The draft scope of work also details the analytical framework that will be used in the draft EIS analyses. There are three key elements to the EIS analytical framework. The first is the analysis year. This is the future year when the project would be complete and operational, and when the effects of the project would occur. For the Avenir project, the EIS analysis year is 2031. The second element is the future with action condition. This represents the future conditions if the project is approved and constructed. In this condition, the proposed gaming facility and hotel would be approved and constructed on the project site. The third element is the future no action condition. This represents the future conditions if the project is not approved by the Gaming Commission. The incremental difference between the future with action condition and the no action condition will serve as the basis for the impact analyses presented in the draft EIS. That concludes my presentation on the draft scope. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to hearing your comments on the draft scope of work. I'd like to now hand this back to Robert Williams.
Thank you, Dara, Jeffrey, and Connor. As a reminder, the purpose of today's session is to accept comments on the draft scope of work, and comments can be submitted in multiple fashions: at today's hearing, in spoken testimony, and by electronic mail or traditional mail directed to the Gaming Commission. Both of our email addresses and mailing addresses will be listed on slides throughout tonight and are available on the Gaming Commission's website. Again, comments will be accepted through 5 p.m. on June 12th, 2025. Before we start with part 2, I want to mention that elected officials and government agencies are not limited to 3 minutes. The first up are elected officials and government agency representatives. Mr. Bayonne, do we have any?
At this moment, we do not, Mr. Williams.
Thank you. As we have no registered elected officials or government agency representatives, we're going to move on to part 3 of this scoping session, which is community board representatives, interested organizations, and members of the public. When it is we're going to go in the order in which people have pre-registered or have indicated an interest to speak. When it is your turn to speak, your name will be called and we will grant you temporary microphone access. You'll be prompted to unmute and will be able to share your comment. If anyone experiences technical difficulties during the testimony, we will pause and move on to the next speaker to allow for troubleshooting to occur in the background. We will call your name at a later time. We will now move on to the first of our individuals. Last piece of notice is I want to remind everybody that a 3-minute countdown clock will run on your screen or on the screen that you see here. You'll be advised when 10 seconds are remaining and when time is expired, and lines will be muted for speakers who go past 3 minutes. Mr. Mayon, will you please call the first speaker?
I'd like to call on Mr. Paul Devlin. Paul Devlin?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Great, thank you. Good evening, all. My name is Paul Devlin. I'm the co-chair of the Clinton Hell's Kitchen Land Use Committee of Community Board 4. We wish to thank the Commission for extending this public comment period. Manhattan Community Board 4 was not included on the list of involved and interested agencies and thus did not receive the notice when it was issued. We only learned of the comment period 10 days afterwards through word of mouth, so this additional time is helpful. According to the notice, the proposed action currently is anticipated to have negligible or small impacts on a variety of concerns, including noise, health, community plans, and character. We believe this comment does not fully consider the actual impact such a large development would have on its character, planning, and health. Here are 7 of our priority concerns. First, we recognize that the Gaming Commission will conduct the secret process by utilizing the New York City Environmental Quality Review Technical Manual as guidance for the analysis. However, we question the adequacy of analyzing the impact of a casino when this technical manual at the city does not recognize casino as a use category. Therefore, using this secret manual, relied upon heavily in this draft scope of work, does not allow a full and accurate analysis of the impacts of this proposed project, and urge the Commission to use the state's technical manual or another appropriate manual that actually recognizes casinos or gaming facilities as a use category. Second, a 400-foot radius for the study is woefully inadequate given the project site's proximity to the Lincoln Tunnel and several large-scale public and private developments, including the Port Authority bus terminal replacement, Gateway, Western Rail Yards, and others. It is critical to study the impact on, at very least, a 15-block or half-mile radius. Tonight's presentation noted the close proximity to the site to a variety of neighborhoods within the 10 minutes, yet the proposed study area does not incorporate that 10-minute radius. Third, it's especially important to evaluate the impact of the proposed project using an extended timeline to be aligned with the Port Authority bus terminal reconstruction, as the site across the street from the proposed site will be under construction until around 2040. The Port Authority bus terminal reconstruction and the proposed project will be mutually impacted by each other. Next, given the housing crisis facing the city, it is critical to study an alternative plan beyond action and no action that does not include a casino, since a casino license is not guaranteed, but instead includes a mixed-use building with a predominance of housing as allowed by current zoning and consistent with the 20,500 Hudson Yards projections. We note that the proposed site is part of the Community Board's Affordable Housing Plan as a location for new and affordable housing. Tonight's presentation used the adjacent residential towers as critical customers to this operator, but then contradicted themselves, saying this is not a neighborhood. The reason it's not currently part of the neighborhood is because the owner has kept it vacant and undeveloped. We will be submitting more detailed statement for your public comment period later. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Susan Jacks. Susan Jacks.
Mute. Hi, can you hear me?
All set, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I agree with much of what Paul said. I have not read all of the remarks in the document that you are referring to, but I do believe that there would be environmental impacts. I, in fact, am a resident of one of Mr. Silverstein's towers in the area, and it is quite beautiful and lovely. One reason that it's lovely here is that the neighborhood is quiet. And I think that the character of the neighborhood would be changed drastically by a 5-floor casino in the area. Earlier remarks suggested that a residential building would not be appropriate because of the proximity to the Lincoln Tunnel. Then why would a hotel be more appropriate? There will be much more traffic in this area because of people trying to get to the hotel and being more transient and trying to get away to other attractions in the area. Now, you talk about the ample public transportation options in the area. Well, Mr. Silverstein knows in his forethought that is not the case. Both Silver Towers and River Place both have weekday rush hour shuttles back and forth to the subways because they know that any crosstown bus is inadequate to provide transportation to people's obligations further east. The 1, 2, and 3 train is a 17-minute walk from my building, and the number 7 extension is a 13-minute walk, and the blue line is a 13-minute walk. People are not going to want to walk back and forth such distances to get to a casino or trail their suitcases along to a hotel. Also, beyond that, such businesses have a history of failure in the neighborhood. The Out Hotel has come and gone. The on 42nd Street between, I believe, 10th and 11th. There was a club space in the area. The Playboy Club has come and gone. Club Door has come and gone. There was a sports bar in the area, come and gone. Mr. Silverstein himself had a really tough time getting some ground level businesses in Silver Towers and in River Place, but he finally did succeed. What I suggest is he makes the tower an apartment tower. We know it's going to be good with a hell of a lot more than 100 affordable units that he indicated he would put in off-site of the hotel into the area. And if he really wants to get loyalty in the community, and if he really wants to get foot traffic, ditch the casino and put in a Trader Joe's. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Marissa Redanti. Marissa Redanti?
She's a big wheel, Marissa Redanti.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Big wheel.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Hi. I would like to say that, first of all, I appreciate the presentation, but in no way on any planet has this project been inclusive to the community. Thus being said by Paul Devlin that they were notified late, and there's a reason for that. The structure is incredibly oversized, and I hate to say it, it's very pretty, but it's a monstrosity for this neighborhood. The shadow that we will never get light anymore, and the traffic going down 42nd Street, not just by your customers, what about your staff? Is anyone thinking about the hundreds and hundreds of people that have to go to work? It is not close to any subway. And if anyone can walk 17 minutes from 11th Avenue to Times Square, I'm going to give you a prize. So as far as the community goes, there isn't one thing in this that is anywhere near the Hell's Kitchen community. It's very nice to have a gallery, quote unquote. It won't work in Hell's Kitchen, not that large of one. And thirdly, if Mr. Silverstein really wanted to help the community, instead of a bowling alley, he would have put a grocery store in the site that is now, I don't know what's going in there now. So my time is almost up, but I have one more thing to say. Was it purposeful to insult the community, or was it just an oversight that 100 off-site affordable housing would fool anyone? This is a very smart community, especially when it comes to affordable housing. And basically what you've done is put a finger in your eye to all of us. Now, I know that I'm being very harsh, but that is sort of my reputation. So either go back to the drawing board or just get rid of the whole thing and start from scratch and make something that is livable, is what you say, to our community, which is affordable housing, a school, a space that people can use for local events, quote unquote, that would be affordable. And I'm going to leave you with this extra 49 minutes, and I'm going to write to Kristen Buckley and ask her to please get rid of this entire project. It is being built at the same time as the bus station. It's ridiculous. And I'm done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Ron Davis. Ron Davis.
Yes, good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you, Mr. Chair, and the community and others for allowing me to speak for 3 minutes on behalf of the project Avenir and Parks Casino and Greenwood Gaming. We've had a tremendous success the last 20 years in our casino and community engagement. The fundamental success has been trust. We've built trust through sharing our success with the community and planning an inclusive and effective community development projects through inclusive work, through community development, through sharing that success through boards of directors within our community, through Habitat, through Red Cross, and other organizations. But I think a key for us is that we do tremendous outreach and inreach, and we plan to do that with this project. Please keep in mind that Parks has one of the leaders, not only in the state, but in the region in community development, giving, and other areas that are important to communities. Our outreach and inreach is second to none, and we plan to do this with this project. Put a plan together that is well thought out in the outreach area, as we've done here. One of the keys to our success also is that we care. And that caring comes through service on boards. I'm on about 20 boards of directors myself here in the Bensalem area, but we also ask our staff and others who are connected with us to be on those boards of directors. So we listen to the community and we know how to react in real time to the needs of the community. We believe in people first in customers, people first in our employees, and people first in our communities. So we are pleased to add that element to this project. And going forward, we'd be so pleased and excited to share that success with our community. We look forward to the next steps in this process, and we will go in a straightforward manner to help build a memorable project that will have a legacy of success for.
Okay. Our next speaker is Mike Marcucci. Mike Marcucci. Please unmute your line, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to keep the comments brief. I've been working for Silverstein for 20 years. I'm a filmmaker, and during that time, I had the opportunity to film construction of River Place as well as Silver Towers. During the entire project, I noticed that Silverstein Properties was always keenly aware of the surrounding neighborhood, and they addressed any extreme noise or pollution problems during construction. Since then, I've had a few friends who moved into these buildings, and they've told me that everything is extremely well maintained, and any problems that arise are immediately remedied. Silverstein Properties transformed this part of town from depressing, desolate parking lots to a vibrant, beautiful complex. Their work is always top notch, and they maintain their buildings to perfection. I've seen this demonstrated at River Place, Silver Towers, as well as the New World Trade Center. I have no doubt that 5 years from now, people will be saying the same thing about the Avenir. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Marcucci. Robert Marcucci.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Well, I've been a New Yorker for 43 years now, and almost 20 of which I've experienced with Silverstein Properties. And as a curator and creative producer, I've nothing but high regard for the Silverstein aesthetic when it comes to their buildings and ethics when considering the right fit for a particular neighborhood, which I feel would be a perfect balance for all participants in that community. You really couldn't ask for a better, more comforting environment this family business has to offer, which again truly adds great emphasis on relations between all parties involved. I've seen Silverstein create wonderful arenas for tenants and, of course, residential artists, and could only imagine the amazing work they would produce for Avenir. The building would most certainly live up to the LEED standards, of which I've enjoyed for many years in other Silverstein buildings. And I honestly feel it would certainly benefit all those participating in this new venture. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anthony Rabondo. Anthony Rabondo.
Yeah, hi, good evening. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, sir. You're good.
Awesome, thank you. I too have also had the good fortune to work with Silverstein Properties for the last few years. At first, I used to do a lot of this kind of consulting work, but I've been more engaged with the organization over the past year. And even when I started going down to the World Trade Center during the rebuilding, I was always really impressed with the care that they took in the building process and recognizing all the people there. They were always very conscientious to make sure that their workforce was a good mix and really kind of captured the, you know, the incredible diversity that New York City personifies. So I have no doubt that a top-notch team of people will be building these buildings. And having been in and around Silverstein Properties all throughout the city, and even one of their buildings on the West Coast, I can also say that their buildings are always meticulously maintained. They're just very beautiful. They create a sense of calmness and peace and wonder with some of the artwork that they also have. Larry's also a big fan of the arts, and seeing all of these different artists that have made the World Trade Center a much brighter, more pleasant, vibrant place to work at, as well as some of the other buildings. I have no doubt the gallery space here will be, well utilized. And also this particular area of the city, I think that this building would be a great building to tie them all the different communities together, from the Hudson Yards all the way over to the theater district. I've walked past that space for many times over the past couple of years, and you can almost hear it, saying, please do something with me. And really think that this building, especially being it's more than likely going to be a top-notch LEED building, would be, I think, something really sweet to have in that region of the city. I think it will definitely enhance the area and, create a lot of opportunities for a lot of residents in Manhattan. Thank you.
Thank you. Hamza Nagy. Hamza Nagy is our next speaker.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Hamza Naji. I'm a small business owner in the area, and I'm for the casino coming to this site. I think it will stimulate the local economy, given that some of the congestion tolls has scared away potential customers. And I think the site has been empty for nearly 10 years, and it needs something there. So I'm for it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. TC Weaver. TC Weaver.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All righty then. So I'm a current artist in residence at World Trade Center, and we've been a part of this family since, I'd say, since 2016. And in regards to the Avenir, the only thing I could really speak about is art and community, outside of bringing a host of jobs to the place. Art and community is what I could speak of. They didn't just give us a studio. We have a studio in the World Trade Center right now, rent-free. We've been here since 2019. And they didn't just give us a studio. They gave us a platform that we could use for community events. We've hosted students from as far away as Ohio. And they allow us to bring in people who are unseen, who are unheard, who think that they can't, who have talents, but nobody sees those talents. This is how I grew up. This is where I came from. So to be attached to something like this is absolutely amazing. And this is what they're bringing to the Avenir. They're not just putting artists in there, but they're creating community spaces. And that's something that I feel a lot of businesses should do. There's a lot of people, there were people who currently live in these buildings, and some of those people were a part of the mural that's currently there now. and they take pride in being able to see something that they produce standing out there and being admired by everybody who passes by. So I feel like the Avenir is a way to up that ante, you know, to be able to put that thing, to shine a light on the community and the togetherness that art brings. You know, Silverstein has shown that that's what he's about. I mean, I'm living proof that that's where he is, and I'm all for that. Bringing more jobs to that place, bringing more community to that place, bringing more art to that place. That's my time.
Thank you. Risa Tochigi? Risa Tochigi.
Oh, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Oh, hi. Hi, my name is Risa Tochigi. I'm actually artist in residence as well. My partner earlier, TC Weaver, was just speaking upon. It's honestly been a true incredible experience here. We have the opportunity to truly shine light through our visual, our art, the language of art with Silverstein Properties, and truly bring light into this space, as well as other areas that we have been able to do mural projects and just workshops. And the workshop that we get to do, they truly give us the whole support, the time, the team to allow us to give back to places and students and families who don't receive the creativity. And again, creativity is such a language that is so important. It gives us hope, imagination, just support, and just love, and the true meaning of like family. And again, one of our most meaningful project that we got to do and partake was with the Silver Tower family. They were able to come to our studio space, create, gather, support each other, and truly just see each other for who we are. And to just have such a grand place to create and to just gather is truly phenomenally, it's just amazing. And again, I have never experienced this type of community and family. And even through during school year, this is never something I got to experience. So I believe this is so important experience for everybody. And I believe Silverstein will be the perfect family to be able to really create this gathering, this space for the Avenir. And truly can't see anybody else creating it. So we hope that everybody gets to really truly experience this as what we are able to. And this is it. Thank you so much. Very appreciative.
Thank you. Sam Lunetta? Sam Lunetta.
Okay, you should be able to hear me now.
Yes, sir.
So I appreciate the opportunity to speak here. I first moved into New York City in '82, where I had the pleasure of working at the Intrepid Museum when it first came in. And I've watched the neighborhood change from, the demolition of the West Side Highway, the building of the new West Side Highway, the additional access to the Hudson River, and all the growth and change that's happened over the neighborhood since back in that time. And it's been phenomenal to watch. I work personally in the live event industry where I do live event production. I've done shows in, Madison Square Garden, Radio City, all that. And there's very many people who work in my industry who live in that area. Having another facility like the Avenir within walking distance that would be operational on a regular ongoing basis, I think is going to be great for the hospitality industry. Its proximity to the Javits Center with additional hotel rooms is going to be another great thing that I think will help drive business to there. And as we all know, the conventions and those folks, they're going to spend money local, which is going to be great for the local businesses. I've had the pleasure of working with the Silverstein Properties folks off and on for the last 18 years, doing events for them and watching them rebuild the World Trade Center and their engagement with the local community. I personally cannot think of a better group of people who will come in and truly care about what's happening and making sure that everything that's happening is a win-win for everyone. And that's my point. Thank you.
Thank you. Spencer Lasky. Spencer Lasky.
Yes, hi, how are you? Thank you for letting me talk. I wanted to just say, first off, we're in New York City, man, and we're among some of the brightest people in the country, maybe the world, diverse. And we also are around some very strong opinions, and I appreciate this process to flesh out this type of a project. And I understand and hear everybody's concerns. I can only speak to my particular vertical as to my experience with Silverstein and what I've seen in the opportunities they provided for both artists and for the public at large in terms of art. So I'm definitely speaking towards that slant, though I have to say I love the building itself. And I think that it really will look good in the skyline. And in my experience in Vegas and other places, I am not a gambler. And when I don't go into the gambling hall, I think the impact on the outside is very minimal. And I would definitely cite Las Vegas as an example of that. There's lots of really great culture and experiences that come from that gambling engine. While it's not my own, I do appreciate it. And I do think the way they designed it is going to have minimal impact on the community. But what will have really great impact on the community is the art and the gallery space and the way Silverstein works with people, as you've heard from some of the artists. There are very few corporations out there that have this much heart. So I have to, say that this is true. I've witnessed it. And, I would very much support this type of company coming in and doing this size of a project in New York City. And last thing I have to say, the sustainability aspect of trying to build a LEEDs platinum, let's say, let's go for the stars, is extremely important. We have to get ahead, or at least get some kind of a foothold on climate change. And any new buildings have to follow a LEEDs USGBA standard. So I'm really happy to hear that they're going in that direction. All right, well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Clayton Calvert. Clayton Calvert.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. I echo Spencer's sentiment, to just say, I'm grateful to kind of listen to everything from all angles. I'm also a lifelong New Yorker. I've lived here, I was born in 1987 and lived here since then. And so I'm an artist in residence at the World Trade Center, and I've worked with Silverstein since 2019. And, I can honestly say that like their commitment to the arts and to community is really unparalleled amongst developers. I created a nonprofit with my brother, NYC Culture Club, and they help us every year by hosting our benefit. They've helped us find space. I've also seen Silver Art Projects, which has had over 120 artists in residence in the last 4 years there. And so I kind of think like when you see the numbers of artists that they've supported, the number of lives they've changed, and then you also see kind of like how they've turned the World Trade Center into this amazing hub. It's not just like a transit hub. It's not just a commercial hub. It's a hub for New Yorkers just to go and kind of enjoy themselves. I mean, even tonight, there'll be a Knicks game screening down there. And also, I think like, they often choose some of the best architects in the world. They're planning, and they're very deliberate, very kind of thought out and concise in the way they realize these things. And so for me, as a New Yorker, as somebody like rides their bike by there all the time, seeing an empty lot is tough, and it's been there for a long time. And even though they built the residential towers, that didn't have the economic impact and kind of like social impact on the area that I'd love to see. So for me, this is a great idea. And, we're going to be getting these licenses for casinos. And I think, it's lucky to have them in the game as somebody who might want to do it. So yeah, that's my thought.
Thank you. Parker Calvert. Parker Calvert.
Hi, this is Parker speaking. I just wanted to reiterate what my brother said. We have worked a lot with Silverstein Properties on a number of different projects. And I think one of the most important things about them is that they are, very creative in their thinking and into how they integrate the arts and programming and just bring in people of all backgrounds and champion diversity along the way. And I think that to have an organization like them be the ones who are spearheading a project like this are the best people you could have, because they ultimately will be diligent and lead with integrity and honesty along the way. And I think, what my brother said about the space on the west side being so desolate and being so underutilized, it is such a shame for New York to have spaces like that. And I think that even though there are, some pushback on, how that space could be utilized, that space has been vacant and empty for quite some time. And so to be able to integrate artists and creatives and to have space to create jobs and to give back to the city that just really needs something to fill these voids, so that we don't just have these desolate areas and these emptiness, it just makes sense. And so I would just say that there's no better organization than Silverstein for what they bring to a community when they enter into a community, and the way that they honor and the way that they actually participate in making the spaces they inhabit better. So I'll leave it with that and just say that it would be a real boom for New York to have something like this and to have someone like Silverstein behind it with such integrity.
Thank you. That's the last of our registered speakers to this point, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Brad. If anyone has been following along and now wishes to speak, please use the information on the slide to register. We're going to take a break until 6:30, which is in 11 minutes. Again, I encourage anyone who has been following along and thinks that they have something of substance to add to the conversation. We would love to hear from you. Please utilize the information on the screen and register to speak. We'll be back at 6:30, and hopefully we'll have a few people that we can hear from. Thank you. Mr. Mayone, have we had anyone register?
Yes, we did. Johanna Spencer. Johanna Spencer.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hi, I'm just part of the general public, but I want to say that I'm not at all in favor of the proposed casino development. I've lived in close proximity for almost 16 years to that plot, and I know the block and its surroundings very well. As things stand, there are terrible traffic patterns at and around that block frequently due to a number of reasons, including but not limited to the Lincoln Tunnel, the Port Authority bus terminal, the city bus depot, the FedEx and the UPS trucks at their hubs, and the Javits Center. Sometimes even with 1 or 2 traffic cops at the very same intersection on 11th Avenue, there is impassable gridlock. Congestion pricing has eased traffic a little bit, but gridlock and honking vehicles are commonplace. The air quality in our area from all that traffic and also from the nearby cruise ships docked on the Hudson a few blocks up is already problematic for our neighborhood. Meanwhile, within a few blocks of the proposed plot, there are numerous buildings housing families such as mine, schools, the FDNY Rescue 1, the NYPD SRG, and we're basically a neighborhood of people and pets just trying to live decent lives as New Yorkers. And we're opposed to having disruptive construction for this development in our lives for a long period of time, and also what I perceive to be unsavory activity that a casino would bring. I'm a native New Yorker, I'm a native Manhattanite, and I really truly think that this casino proposal is just really one of the worst ideas for development that I've heard in this borough. This area right here is really in need of a public school that's a zoned middle school. We also really want a Trader Joe's. We've been trying to get one in our neighborhood. We thought we were going to be able to get a subway station when the 7 train extension happened around 41st and 10th or 41st and Dyer. That never happened. We really could use some better enforcement of traffic around here because we have drag racing. We have vehicles that drive over the barriers that are in the middle of the streets and the avenues around here. We have cars that go the wrong way on one-way streets, cars that make illegal rights and sometimes illegal lefts on red lights. The development here just doesn't appear to be in line with what we as neighbors in this area want, casino aside. We've also heard there will be affordable housing in this development, but the location is yet to be announced and is going to be somewhere else. And that just feels a little tone deaf and duplicitous to hear that. I also just personally have an issue with the business model being a place where people are meant to lose money for the business to thrive. And I don't want to live across the street from a place where people are going to be losing money left and right. I would be surprised if Thank you. I would be surprised if anyone working on this project would want that exact development across from where you personally live. Thanks.
Okay, I'm seeing no more registered speakers at this point, sir.
Okay, let's take another break. We'll see if anyone who's following along would like to participate. You can register or you can simply raise your hand. If you're on telephone, you can indicate your interest by dialing *9. Otherwise, if you're on the video, please use the raise hand function. Anyone else who has not given consideration to doing that right now, please give consideration to either registering or utilizing one of those 2 opportunities or methods for indicating your interest. We'll take a break for about another 11 minutes and get us to a 6:45. Again, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and hopefully we'll come back and we'll have several other people that are interested in providing comment. Thank you. Mr. Mayone, have we had anyone else register tonight?
There are no additional registrants at this time.
Okay, once again, if anyone has been following along and wishes to speak, you still have 14 minutes to register. Or if you're on the telephone, you can choose *9 to indicate your interest in providing comment. If you've joined us on the Zoom platform, you can utilize the raise hand indicator at the bottom of the screen, and we will recognize you and allow you to provide some comment on this draft scope of work. In the interim, I think we'll take a break until 7 o'clock, when we'll come back on, see if anyone else is registered. And if so, we'll hear from them at that point. Thank you again for your patience and your attendance. Well, we've returned again. Mr. Mayone, has anybody indicated an interest to speak?
Yes, Mr. Mervin Madriaga. Mervin Madriaga.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you guys hear
Hello.
me okay?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wonderful. I'll try to keep this fairly brief. I know we're nearing the end of the session tonight. So I have a unique perspective on the topic at hand for this evening. I have been a resident of River Place, which is just down the street on 42nd between 11 and 12 from the site in question. I've lived here for almost 25 years now. I moved in 2000 December 2000. And I am also the director of events for Silverstein Properties for the commercial properties, and I oversee the World Trade Center campus. So as I said, a very unique perspective. And I just wanted to share my thoughts on everything. When I first heard about the project, obviously, like many residents, as well as many people from the neighborhood, I definitely had some questions and my own thoughts. And, the Silverstein has been really great about, answering any questions I may have about the project and providing a lot of reassurance because, not only did I grow up here, but I'm also raising my own family now. I have a wife and a two-year-old at home that obviously I have their best future in mind. And, after speaking to many of the people heading the project, I just wanted to kind of provide some reassurance for the people joining tonight as well as for future that, from my experience of the 4 years working at Silverstein, all the projects that we've done, I can say that I wouldn't trust anyone else with a project, only because I know what kind of happens behind the scenes and the thought and care that's put into it. And I'm confident to say that if we do get this bid, that it would be done well and it will be done right. I can't foresee a future if we do get this project that we would have this project and then it would negatively impact all the residents within our own portfolio. Between Silver Towers and River Place, there's so many people that live there, and we wouldn't do anything to jeopardize our own stake in our residential portfolio. So just wanted to share that with everyone this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
All right, are there anyone else?
There are no further speakers registered.
Hearing that there are no remaining speakers and we have passed the end of today's scheduled time, the public comment portion of tonight's session has concluded. Before we depart, I want to remind everyone that if you had difficulties providing comment today, or you didn't feel like you wanted to provide oral testimony, please submit written comments by using one of the methods that are listed on the slide. Comments can be submitted by email to kristenbuckley@gaming.ny.gov or by mail to the Gaming Commission's address. All comments must be received before 5 p.m. on June 12th, 2025. Before we conclude, I want to again remind everyone that there is another important opportunity to provide comment. Once the Commission accepts a draft environmental impact statement as complete and adequate for public review, the Commission will offer the document for public comment on both its scope and content. This is triggered by the Commission preparing and filing a notice of completion consistent with the requirements of Title VI NYCRR Section 617.12 to announce that we have accepted a draft environmental impact statement and are opening the public review and comment period. While a notice of completion of a draft environmental impact statement is required to be published in the State Environmental Notice Bulletin, we want to ensure that all interested people are timely notified of the availability of the draft EIS. So we will post notices on both the Gaming Commission's and the Gaming Facility Location Board's website, as well as making it known through social media. We will, of course, place review copies of any accepted draft environmental impact statement in accessible public venues such as a local library or municipal offices, and we will work with local elected officials and representative community boards to identify appropriate placement locations. Presuming anticipated schedules hold, I would expect the draft environmental impact statements will be available towards the end of July. Given that news may be missed during the summer months, to facilitate notice, anyone interested in receiving an email announcing the draft environmental impact statement's availability may have their name added to an email mailing list by sending their name, email address, and the identification of the project they're interested in to kristen.buckley@gaming.ny.gov. The time is 7:07 p.m. and the Avenir Project's public scoping session has now concluded. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.